Good morning. I know there's only a few people here, but we are going to start with a hymn sing of some songs, essentially with love in the title. So let's start with number 95. There is more love somewhere. Why don't you do the last line? Do the last line. You guys want to come help me? There is more love. Somewhere. There is more. There is more joy. Let's go to a little farther ahead in the hymnal 131. Love will guide us. Love will guide on the road. Thank you. I think you've been given the teal hymnal. There's the other hymnal is 1014. It's called Standing on the Side of Love, but the composer has rewritten the title to be Answering the Call of Love. So if we could sing it that way, that'd be great. So number 1014, but where you see Standing on the Side of Love, you could sing Answering the Call of Love. We are answering the call of love. We are answering the call of love. Sometimes we are answering the call of love. We are answering the call of love. Together as hearts beat as one, holding by faith, we are answering the call of love. Let's just do one other short one to settle things down. 1048. We go to 1048. Ubi caritas et amore ubi caritas. Where charity and love abound, God is there. So we'll just do it a few times through. Feel free to sing some harmonies as we go along. Just play it once. Let's try it. Et amor, ubi caritas, Deus ubi caritas, et amor.
Yes. Good morning, and welcome to the Community Church of Chapel Hill Unitarian Universalist. My name is Kathy Putnam, and I'm a member of the Worship Associates Ministry here at the church. Whoever you are, whoever you love, however you arrived at this beloved place, you are welcome here. I especially want to welcome any newcomers or guests that are with us this morning and call your attention to a special note for you. It's on the back side of your order of service and says, "Welcome guests and newcomers." Now, as we continue with reopening, I want to mention a few things for us to keep in mind. We're masking inside on Sunday mornings as a way of striving to be an inclusive community. We're not currently passing offering baskets, so please place your donation in the baskets as you enter or exit the sanctuary. And for those of you at home, you may donate online. The courtyard, just outside the main entrance, is mask optional and typically has a cart with coffee and tea available. All other indoor or outdoor spaces are mask mandatory. However, today there's a special treat for us out in the courtyard. You'll see tables with red tablecloths, and there are treats and beverages, and I think it would be a great time to meet somebody maybe you haven't met before. The other gathering area is behind the Jones building and includes the porch, grassy area, and playground, and masking is mandatory there. All the typically the community room has people who do tabling, but today all that is outside. So take a minute to go over and see what some of those groups are up to. Virtual coffee hour today is at 11:30 and will be hosted by Rachel Rose and the Welcoming Committee. The Zoom link is in the weekly announcements and the Sunday morning email. Now, if you haven't already done so, please turn off any cell phones during our service to maintain a worshipful experience. Now we're going to have a special announcement from Ray Dawson and her team. Batter up.
Project yet. Lots of you had. You don't want to miss this event. Also, walk over the places where community need our help. We want always. Don't forget, this is a double header, so you can help our community and pick up your pledge packets all in one day.
Safe. Next batter.
You don't want to miss. You don't want to miss all the surprises. We got fellowship, we got great food, and we got special events. Wooly Bull, the official mascot of the Durham Bulls baseball team, will be there for lunch. And guess what? He's bringing tickets to an actual baseball game. We're going to raffle those off. Will you be the lucky winner?
Safe. Next batter.
Opportunities for all. Do you like to join the cookies
and milk activities. If you like to be outside, we've got you covered. Garden projects and cleaning up Bowling Creek and Legion Park and planting bulbs at Charlestown. Write letters.
Join the team.
Join the team.
Help us knock it out of the park. Thank you.
While the choir is coming up, I just wanted to read you a little bit of the words from the poem that the music is set to, and also let you know that that wonderful hissing of summer lawn sound you're hearing is from the heating system, not from the audio. So there's nothing we can do about it. It's just, as Brad said, it's just another voice in the choir today. So this is the words to the song, Flight Song. All we are, we have found in song. You have drawn this song from us. Song of lives unfolding, fly overhead, cry overhead. Longing, rising from the song within. The night is restless with the sounds we hear, is broken, shaken by the cries of pain. For this is music's inner voice saying, yes, we hear you, all you who cry aloud. And we will fly, answering you, so our lives sing, wild in spirit we will fly. Like a feather falling from the wing, fragile as a human voice, afraid, uncertain, alive to love, we sing as love, yet our flight begins as song.
Tomorrow is Valentine's Day. I'm sure this is no surprise to you. Are you ready for a little love tomorrow? Maybe a little Super Bowl today? No matter what your circumstance, whether you're involved in a romantic love relationship or not, I hope that you feel a little more loved by the time you leave our service today. Everyone should feel a little well-loved. Children, friends, family, community members, and of course, loving partners that we may be fortunate to have. Charles M. Schulz once said, "All we need is love, but a little piece of chocolate doesn't hurt either." I emphatically agree. In fact, another expert once said, 9 out of 10 people love chocolate, and the 10th one lies. My grandson, who's 4 years old, doesn't like chocolate. There's hope for him yet. Let's celebrate love in all its forms this morning, and we'll begin by lighting our chalice.
You'll find the words to our chalice lighting in your order of service, and if you wish to do so, please read them along with me. Love is what we need, to love and to be loved. Let our hearts be open, and what we would receive from others, let us give. For what is given still remains to bless the giver when the gift is love. Please stand in body or spirit for our opening hymn, 360, Here We Have Gathered. Our first reading is by Frederick and Mary Ann Broussard, authors of Spiritual Literacy, which appears on their Spirituality and Practice website. Love of self, love of neighbors, and love of God are the foundational stones of the world's religions. Spiraling out from the core of our being, our other loves are also cobblestones on the spiritual path. Love of family, of partner, of friends, of community, of animals, of nature, of country, of things, of hobbies, of work. Love is not something that you just fall into, as the romantic songs suggest. Love is a spiritual practice. You can get better at it over time. Begin by recognizing that you can't love others until you truly love yourself, body, mind, and soul. The second reading is a poem titled Love After Love by the late Caribbean poet Derek Walcott. The time will come when, with elation, you will greet yourself, arriving at your own door, in your own mirror, and each will smile at the other's welcome and say, "Sit here, eat." You will love again the stranger who was yourself. Give wine, give bread, give back your heart to itself, to the stranger who has loved you all your life, whom you ignored for another, who knows you by heart. Take down the love letters from the shelf, the photographs, the desperate notes. Peel your own image from the mirror. Sit. Feast on your life.
Thank you, Kathy. I've always liked Valentine's Day. As a child, I remember looking forward to those classroom parties in elementary school where we'd pass around those class sets of Valentine cards, and everyone would get them. And we'd eat those cupcakes with pink, always pink frosting on the top. And we might get some of those heart-shaped candies, the conversation candies with little sayings on them, like, "Kiss me," or "Be mine." Today, if you're likely to get one of those, it might say, "Text me." For adults, Valentine's Day has not always been something to look forward to. Without a romantic partner, Valentine's Day might highlight possible loneliness or a sense of unworthiness. It is not surprising that this holiday triggers depression and thoughts of suicide. But it doesn't have to be that way. Valentine's Day can be more than just for romantics. Love appears in many forms. A perfect example can be found in a favorite children's book of mine, Somebody Loves You, Mr. Hatch, by Eileen Spinelli. Whatever your age, if you're not familiar with this book, I encourage you to check it out. It is well worth it. The story centers on a drab, lonely man, Mr. Hatch. He lives a predictable, quiet, lonely life. He works in a shoelace factory. He wears the same gray clothes every day and eats the same bland foods every day. Until one Valentine's Day when he receives a giant candy-filled heart with a note. Somebody loves you. Stunned but pleased, he smiled. He laughed. He danced. And he ate a piece of candy. He began interacting with his neighbors and coworkers, wondering who might have sent that note. He started to wear brightly colored clothes, eat interesting, spicy foods. He becomes cheery, helping his neighbors, and everyone notices. And they joyfully respond to this change, this new person. The simple note changes Mr. Hatch. That somebody loved him gave him a new outlook on his life. But then Mr. Hatch learned that the note and the gift were a mistake. They were meant for someone else. Sadly, he returns to his dull, dreary ways. He's sure no one loves him. When the community notices the reversal of his behavior, they rally around Mr. Hatch and let him know that many, many more than one somebodies love him. This story reminds me of our first Unitarian Universalist principle. Every person has inherent worth and deserves to be treated with respect and dignity. But I think sometimes we forget that this refers to ourselves, not just other people that we interact with. We forget our own inherent worthiness to love and be loved. Mr. Hatch learns he's worthy by accident, and it transforms him. Just believing he was loved made him lovable. Had he believed in his own worth, he never needed to be lonely or feel unloved. Though he didn't gain a romantic partner in this story, he gained the community's love. We have a community that shares similar forms of love, and it is just one of several forms of love. The kind of love our friends and childhood classmates exchange in goodwill is goodwill love, known as philia. Family members express a type of love called storge. This form of love might include a family member doing something nice for another, like completing a chore, fixing a special dinner, or simply giving affectionate hugs and kisses. The term eros describes romantic, sensual, and passionate love. Its initial fervor helps seal relationships for long-term stability, care, and companionship. Another form of love is philautia, or loving ourselves, such as being less judgmental towards ourselves and indulging ourselves, like giving ourselves flowers, chocolate, or perhaps spending an afternoon watching football. Healthy self-love leads to happiness and self-esteem. It is not narcissistic. Philautia also includes loving life itself, welcoming all that life includes. Another form of love is agape love, referring to altruistic or divine love. Agape love engenders compassion and generosity in others, for others. It motivates this church to share part of its financial gifts with charitable causes. It lies behind Jesus's command to love our neighbors and our enemies. It's how he believed God loves humanity. Experts identify additional forms of love, but these 5 are most evident in our lives. They are all meaningful ways of giving and receiving love. Communities, whether countries, towns, or congregations, can and should be guided by love. One of my favorite philosophers and authors, Sam Keen, writes in his book, To Love and Be Loved, that communities are best when, quote, founded on justice, and ruled by compassion and kindness. This community works hard to meet that standard. We aim to affirm your worth, our worth, act justly, and be kind. We aspire to love all of whom we are, all our imperfections, scars, and attitudes, all our creativity, compassion, and talents. We want everyone to feel loved. As Mr. Hatch discovered, living alone doesn't mean being alone if we choose to be part of a community. We can love and be loved in so many different ways. Keene also writes, quote, "In the depths of our being, in body, mind, and spirit, we know we are created to love and be loved." Fulfilling this imperative, responding to this vocation, is the central meaning of our lives. The importance and power of love can't be underestimated. It is our birthright to experience love in any or all of its forms. If we only focus on romantic love, we risk missing out on other stable, available, healing, and perhaps just as fulfilling forms. Romantic love may be ecstatic and desirable, but it's not the only road to happiness and a meaningful life. As we approach Valentine's Day, don't wait for a card that says somebody loves you. To know that you are loved. You are loved. Share the love that resides within you. Sharing that love will transform you and potentially the world. Martin Luther King Jr. preached that, quote, "Unconditional love will have the final word in reality." Let's help make this prediction come true right now. If you're online and alone, shout out, "I am loved." If you are not alone or here in this sanctuary, turn to your neighbor and say, "You are loved." You are loved. You are loved. You are loved. Thank you for making this community of love. And because I believe in self-indulgence, especially with chocolate, we'll do so shortly. But first, a word about chocolate's source and what we'll be consuming. The cocoa plant is native to the Western Hemisphere, only growing roughly 20 degrees north and south of the equator. The Spanish conquerors brought this food back to Europe, and eventually it began to be cultivated in Africa. We know past European conquerors, colonizers, and slave traders had a devastating impact on indigenous populations. Harm continues in the present through the grueling conditions and unfair labor practices imposed by local farmers and global companies. The US government and US companies ideally want to change this, but like so much in the food industry, change is slow, difficult, and impacts profits and higher costs for consumers. Compounding these challenges are unstable, impoverished equatorial nations. Additionally, insufficient consumer demand for higher ethical standards makes for little change. Which means the chocolate you will soon meditate on comes at a human cost. Most of you will be eating Dove chocolate, which carries a certification of partial fair trade practices. Dove's parent company, Mars, admits it is not fully able to guarantee all its chocolate sources meet best practices. Regretfully, fair trade chocolate in individually wrapped pieces is sold by only one company, and its chocolate doesn't have the complexity or melting qualities of Dove's. We have work to do to protect cacao workers abroad as well as agricultural laborers in this country. May we labor to demand faster change that will improve all people's lives, as our first principle demands of us. To the ancient Maya who lived in what is now southern Mexico, the feathered serpent god Quetzalcoatl gave the people the gift of cacao, the cacao tree, against the wishes of the other gods. Even so, he purloined the cocoa pod, came down from the sky, and showed the people how to grow it, plant it, and make a bitter drink of it. He did this because he loved the people and he wanted them to enjoy what the gods enjoyed. Our word chocolate comes from the Maya word for hot, choc or shock, and the Aztec for water, atl. Because the Maya drank their cocoa as a hot beverage, Spanish invaders combined these two words to create chocolat. They chose choc rather than cacao because they weren't fond of what sounded like caca water for the murky brown liquid they were beginning to enjoy. That may be the only good things the conquerors did. The bitter cacao beverage was not consumed with sugar, though some ancient recipes included honey. Adding hot, spicy pepper was common, as was fruity and floral additions like vanilla bean. In Aztec lands, only nobles, priests, and warriors, a group that included the long-distance merchant traders, were allowed to drink this precious beverage. Because of its value, cacao beans formed a means of monetary exchange. A rabbit was worth 30 cacao beans, a tomato, 1 bean. In Montezuma's warehouse, Spaniards counted 1 billion beans. Records show over 2,000 containers of chocolate beverage were sent out daily to be consumed by his soldier and guards daily. According to the National Confections Association, retail sales of chocolate increased during the pandemic. One industry spokesperson reported people ate chocolate as a self-indulgent treat during a stressful time. Self-medicating with chocolate sounds much like what the ancient Aztecs, who also believed chocolate contained medicinal qualities. And modern medical research confirms this. If you do not like chocolate, do like caramel, while the choir sings and we pass baskets down the rows, raise your hand so Alexa and Kathy will come to you and they'll give you an alternative to the chocolate. Also, if you need sugar-free chocolate or caramel, they will also have that available for you. And those of you at home, hopefully you paid attention to our messages that said have some chocolate handy. And there is a basket up on the balcony as well on one of the chairs, so make sure you get a hold of that. Follow my instructions once you get your candy. It is not to be opened immediately. We will pass the baskets. They will be found underneath the interior rows of the pews. Towards the back, you may not have a basket, but there is more candy than will be taken by each person taking one piece of candy, so we'll eventually get it back. So raise your hand if you need something special. While the choir is singing, begin to pass the baskets, and Kathy and Alexa will come to you. So raise your hand if you need something different than the standard chocolate. And In those baskets, the pink is milk chocolate, the red is dark chocolate. And remember, do not open your candy. And it may be wise to not hold the candy in your hand because your hand will heat up the chocolate. Not a good thing. So while they're singing and you're getting your piece of chocolate, just either put it in your lap or on your order of service or next to you so that your heat won't melt it, because then it'll be a mess. So follow directions. Don't melt your chocolate. And pass the baskets.
On the heaviest day, on the bitterest night, we thought, still I will love, still I will love you. When I'm scared to lay bare all the pain in my chest, still I will love, still I will love at our bravest and weakest, our worst and our best. Still I will love, still I will love when we lose all our hair and our teeth and our minds. Still I will love, still I will love when the scenery falls and I mess up my lines. Still I will love. I make a promise, I make a vow to myself, to you, to everyone right now. When the world tries to tear us apart at the seams, life makes it hard to keep chasing our dreams. When we're messy and weepy and feeble and old, we don't have a clue what the future will hold. Still I will love, still I will love, still I will love. Oh, still I will love, still I will love you. Still I will love, still I will love, still I will love, love. Still I will love, still I will love, still I will love, love. Still I will love, still I will love, still I will love, love. Still I will love, still I will love, still I will love, love. Still I will love, 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 still I will love.
Kathy, if you can make sure that the choir don't need a special candy. Is there anyone missing a piece of candy or special candy? It's coming down your way, but if any of the choir need the special candy, raise your hand. And hopefully you at home are all ready with your candy. You know, often we eat chocolate quickly and mindlessly, maybe while we're doing something else. So this meditation is going to be an opportunity to slow down and mindfully pay attention to your chocolate. I'm going to invite you to savor the experience and linger and enjoy the sensuous experience that eating this food of the gods, actually the name is Theobroma cacao, because it is a sensuous experience. Now, without eating it, simply open your chocolate in silence. Doesn't that sound like rain? Reminds me of the rainforest. Without tasting, and I'm not sure if this is going to be possible through our various masks, but try to bring the chocolate up to your nose and see if you can smell it. When it reaches room temperature or body temperature, it releases powerful vapors, which may or may not be discernible through the mask. Now, I'm going to invite you to carefully lift your mask up and take a bite of the chocolate. And I recommend a bite, not the whole thing. And then get the mask back down. And without chewing on that little bite, let it melt in your mouth. Let it coat your tongue, solid, turning into liquid. Concentrate on the flavors coating your tongue. Feel the chocolate's texture. Taste its complex flavors, and then swallow. Is this brown gold a heavenly treat from the gods, or what? As you finish your chocolate, know that your taste buds are capable of detecting well over 1,000 different flavors. Chocolate is more complex than any other food, containing as many as 500 different flavors, depending on the maker's blend of beans and ingredients. Only wine dares rival chocolate's complexity. Enjoy the pleasant, lingering chocolate taste in your mouth. Take a deep breath and savor the peace and joy of this experience. Sense the pleasure you may feel as the chocolate's organic chemicals elevate your pulse and enrich your blood with substances that are essential to our brain cells. Chocolate contains an amphetamine-like substance, sometimes called the chemical of love, because people in love have a high natural quantity of this chemical in their brains. You can continue to finish your chocolate as you wish. Enjoy it. And may this community, like this chocolate, bring you peace, joy, hope, and most of all, ready to share your love along with some chocolate. Share that chocolate with others when you can. Blessed be.
Each week, we hold a time in our service for the sharing of significant joys and sorrows. If you have a personal joy or sorrow you'd like to share, you're invited to come forward and take a stone, place it in the water, speak your name into the microphone so we can hear you, and briefly share your joy or sorrow. Let us enter into this time of tenderness and trust.
Hi, my name is Demia Wright. I have one joy and one sorrow. My joy is that we now have a teenager in the house as of Friday when Tobin turned 13. And my sorrow is that about a week and a half ago, a friend of mine passed away. She's someone I had met early in my career. And when I moved to the Southeast, she lived here, and I had a good friendship with her over the years. And I also have a lot of thoughts for her daughters. Her name's Renee, and her daughters are Sadie and Catherine, and they now have lost both their parents to cancer in their late 20s, early 30s. So thank you.
I'm Deborah Klinger, and this is a stone of sorrow for the loss of a dear friend of mine, Karen Krentler. She went by KK, and she was one of my oldest and dearest friends, and from Los Angeles. When we would go back, we would stay with her. She saw Eden partially grow up, and she fell off the grid several years ago, and a mutual friend reached out to me saying her email's not working, her phone number's disconnected. Do you know what happened? Nobody there knew what happened. And after some internet detection years later, like a couple of years ago, I found an address, I sent a card, I got a call from her sister in Michigan, an address in Michigan, her sister in Michigan, saying she had developed dementia from something called normal pressure encephaly, which they think was due to a fall outside her condo. She hit her head on the brick wall. Anyway, she's been living in a nursing home for years, bedridden with severe dementia. And a couple weeks ago, I got a text from her sister saying that she had died a couple weeks before that, and she wanted to let me know. She said that she hadn't had much of a life for a long time, and that her death was a blessing for her, which feels right to me, and very sad.
I'm Mary Beth Powell.
I'm Bill Rope.
And we have a tremendous joy. My daughter, who's been living in Okinawa, Japan, with her husband and their 2 kids, are on their way here. They left Friday to fly. She's flying alone with the 2 boys who are 14 months and 2.5 years. And we talked last night after a lot of delays. They are finally this morning, and they landed in Dallas, and they've got one more stop to stay with in-laws in Texas. And then they'll be here next week to be with us. So I am so excited. I haven't seen them since last March.
Hello, I'm Bonnie Crotty Nelson, and I don't usually announce children's birthdays, but my daughter Jenny turns 22 today, and she's in the other building, so if you see her, wish her a happy birthday.
Hello, my name's August Fleury, and I have a joy that I've been able to fit in to a new school. Just reflecting on our Valentine's Day in elementary, we'd give each other gifts, give each other candy, and it'd be a big party. In middle school, it's totally different. I know most people here have been to middle school, and there's a big shift. But I'm relating that shift to me going from a different school to a new school over the course of COVID, and that being really hard to adjust to. But I've gotten used to it. I've made a lot of friends, which really surprised me because I'm an extroverted person, but going to a new school during the middle of a pandemic when you can't even see people's faces, it's rough. But yeah, I'm really glad that I got to have that experience and then change. Yeah, Valentine's into something just.
Good morning. We're Susie and Dave Schaub, and we're reading this for our friend Betty Sultan. She's a regular attendee here, but she's away for the winter. Betty composed these verses for the sorrow that she asked us to share this morning.
With a broken heart, I let you go, my little dog, my Giorgio. You suffered so. On the wings of a dove, you flew and took my heart with you. Betty and others who've lost a beloved pet are in our thoughts and prayers. Thank you.
My name is Jeannie Jansen, and I put in one stone of sorrow for a good friend, Jim Hugerich, who died last week of cancer. And the other one is a stone of sorrow because a young friend of mine, Sarah Kayleys, has made time to come down and stay overnight with me, and that brings me great happiness.
I'm Susie Hafer, and one stone's for Mary LeMay, a member of this church. She fell the other night, and she's in the infirmary at Carroll Woods. She hit her hip, and she's having hip and leg pain, but as she told me, she's getting better every day. So I just wanted to send, maybe she's watching, we hope so, send her good get well wishes. My other joy is I'm moving to Carroll Woods the end of April, and my daughter's been here for 13 days. I'm going to break down. She's been wonderful. So I couldn't have done it without her. So thank you, Claire.
I have a couple of additional joys and sorrows that were sent to me. Susan Spalt also echoes the loss of Jim. She adds these words, he was a good person known for his competence, compassion, and corny jokes. And they worked together quite a bit. And she asks that you hold him and his family in their hearts. I also have from Alexa or Alex Polad, she'd like to express her sorrow for all addicts who struggle with the physical and psychological consequences of their substance use, but are unable to stop. And I have one sorrow I'd like to add. The Reverend Jean Pupke, who was a candidate for the presidency of the Unitarian Universalist Association and a long-term minister of the Richmond congregation, currently was the minister in Richmond, Virginia, died this past week after a tragic fall. She was an important voice in Unitarian Universalist justice movements, and her loss will be greatly felt in the association.
This last stone is for all those joys and sorrows this morning that were unspoken but live in our hearts and are no less real. Please join me for a moment of prayer. Source of life and love, God known to us by many names, we give thanks for all our joys, for children's birthdays, even grown-up children,
for children who come to visit from far away, for daughters and sons who help us when we need it, for changes in our schools and the way we celebrate holidays. For these joys, we celebrate them together. But for our sorrows, for all of our friends and loved ones who have died, for those of us who are suffering from illness or falls or feeling pain in other ways, may we hold each other tenderly. As we approach Valentine's Day, let us hold in our hearts those who carry pain and sorrow for lost love, absent love, or abusive love. May the spirit of love reduce that pain. Help us to be more aware of those who love us and to show appreciation for that love. And help guide us to advocate for the many workers who bring us our food, our clothing, and our gadgets, many of whom are exploited by cheap wages and horrible working conditions. May we continue to demand fair practices and sustainable futures. In the name of love, we offer these prayers. Amen. I invite you to remain seated as we sing our hymn number 296 in the gray hymnal, O ye who taste that love is sweet.
This may be a little unfamiliar, so we're going to ask the choir to spread out and help us sing. It's a lovely French melody. Should you come up? 296. Okay.
For closing words, share a couple of thoughts. One of the ways this community shares its love is by the care that we give to one another. We help each other out around the birth of a child, medical emergency, or death of a loved one, and many other ways. The activities range from sending cards to home visits. At least once COVID is under control, we'll return to more home visits. Our caring ministry team invites you to consider whether serving this committee by joining this team is of interest to you. Your interest will prompt an interview with me or Reverend Tom when he returns. We do this to determine how best you might contribute. And now to close our service, I share a poem, Invitation to Love, by Paul Laurence Dunbar. Come when the nights are bright with stars, or come when the moon is mellow. Come when the sun, his golden bars, drops on the hayfield yellow. Come in the twilight soft and gray. Come in the night or come in the day. Come, O love, whene'er you may, and you are welcome, welcome. You are sweet, O love, dear love. You are soft as the nesting dove. Come to my heart and bring it to rest as the bird flies home to its welcome nest. Come when my heart is full of grief or when my heart is merry. Come with the falling of the leaf or with the reddening cherry. Come when the year's first blossom blows. Come when the summer gleam glows. Come with the wind's drifting snows, and you are welcome, welcome. Let's rise in body or in spirit to sing our closing hymn, which is all about love, and Glenn will instruct.
You'll notice there's something called the mantra, so that's the thing that I would like you to sing. You sung so lovely today. I wanted to thank you for singing all those pieces earlier and in the hymn sing, so I know you're going to have fun with this. So I will teach you the mantra, and then the choir will be singing 3 other parts, and you're welcome to sing along with them too. All the words, as simple as they are in there. So let's just try with the give me an F sharp, and so let's do the mantra. Love, love. Not sound kind of familiar? All you need is love, love. Let's keep repeating that. All we need is love, love, love. All we need is love. Now the choir is going to sing part 1. All we need. All we need is love.
All we need is
Well, it's fitting to thank everyone who put this service together, and especially our musicians. Thank you so much. The words for extinguishing the chalice are in your order of service. Please join me if you wish to do so. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. Please join to sing Shalom, and if you would rather not hold hands, just go like this. Shalom, my friends, shalom, my friends, shalom, shalom. We'll meet again, we'll meet again. Shalom.